I'm just going to say a few things about what's happened in my life over the past year, but it's really a progression of my entire life because I'm 34 years old and I've been in the walking horse industry for 34 years. And the first memory I have in life is not riding a Tennessee walking horse or being put on a horse, but it's standing in the middle of the celebration ring in the 11 and under class in 1984 and watching Ebony Go Boy's Dream win the 11 and under World Grand Championship and thinking how bad, I was 5 years old, I wanted to win a World Grand Championship or a World Championship. And so I spent the next 19 years of my life thinking that was the most important thing in the world. And I won 8 more World Championships. And today I want to tell you that what those World Championships mean to me is absolutely nothing. The ribbons from those World Championships are in a landfill. That will not fulfill you. Because at the end of the day, from all of those World Championships and what those horses went through, it will bring you nothing but emptiness, sorrow, and pain. The good thing from all of that is that it led me to a point in my life where I was able to move to Tennessee and work at Waterfall Farms with 2,000 breeders from all over the world, people I got to be great friends with and work together with. And eventually that led me to decide one night, the night before the election, to run for president of TWEBA. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was 31 years old, and I ran from the floor, and I got elected. And then I thought, what in the world am I going to do? And I had a trip planned to Europe for the next 2 weeks, so I at least had 2 weeks to think about it after that. So I came back, and I called all of our past presidents together and asked for them to help, and they helped in many, many ways, and 2 particular people that I would like to thank was the president before me, Mr. David Pruitt. I would have never made it without him. He was absolutely fantastic. And the other, Mr. Bill Harlan, and I think Mr. Harlan's gone, but he was the oldest living president, I guess is today, and I was the youngest, and his wisdom and insight really helped me tremendously. And then a lot of the other presidents I listened to actually learn what not to do. Because history tends to repeat itself in this industry more than any place I've ever seen. So I'll fast forward about a year and a half. The first year of being president was pretty easy. It wasn't much controversy until later in the year. And one day Dr. Chester Gibson came to talk to us, and all hell broke loose. And a few months later, I happened to be traveling to Germany to go judge a horse show there in Wimding. And over a 3 or 4 day period, there were about 400 entries. There were no pads. There were no chains. There was no soaring. I'm not really even sure if they had inspections or not. But there were more horses than I'd ever imagined. People pole bending, barrel racing, trail obstacle, rail classes. It was absolutely amazing. And it really changed my perspective on seeing the walking horse industry instead of from the inside out, from the outside in. And then about the second day of that event, Mr. Dane came out with a video on Jackie McConnell. And I want to thank you today about that, Keith. You know, I think I was cussing you pretty bad at the time. But that experience to be president of TWHBA with 10,000 members in a foreign country judging a horse show, and that video to have come out at that time is something I don't know that anybody will ever experience, and I can't explain it to you. But even though I knew for a long time really what was right and didn't want to admit it to myself, things changed overnight for me. And I really saw what the rest of the world saw. So I worked from there forward to try to change things even further from within, and that didn't really seem to help, and people didn't want to listen. And I really wanted to be more vocal in public, and I apologize it took me so long, but I was afraid because I knew that my whole world would fall apart, and I was right. And the good thing I'd say today, though, is the decisions I made to come forward and talk about what really goes on in the walking horse industry and how rampant the different things are that people don't want to recognize and don't want people to really see and know what's going on has changed my life in a positive way more than I can ever tell you, and I wouldn't trade any of it for anything in the world. I've made some of the best friends that I've ever had in my life, and I want to thank a few of those today that are here that have helped me along with my progression. And, of course, Keith Dane, Pat Stout, who put up with me accusing her of all kind of things in 2007 on the executive committee. Lori Northrup, who came to me one day and said, well, why can't we just get rid of the pads and chains? And I looked at her and I thought, this woman's crazy. Teresa Bippen, who wrote a letter at least twice a week to me while I was president to beat us up over what we were doing wrong, and she was right, and those letters helped. Julie Dillon, who about 4 days after I came back from Germany was the May meeting at TWIBA, the international board meeting, and she so innocently stood up before the national board and talked about the Jackie McConnell video and said, what do I go back to New England to tell the people of New England? And what Julie said to me that day and asked really had a huge impact, because I thought, you know what? I know what the rest of the world thinks now. What should I tell her? And I said, Julie, I don't know. I'm paraphrasing, but I don't know exactly what I can tell you to say, but I can tell you we're going to find out, and we're going to find out what the right thing to do is, and what if the padded horse, if it's this percentage that are sore and they're not winning or whatever it is, we're going to find out and we're going to do something about it. And that statement, I've held up my end of the bargain. I hope if I've done nothing else, Julie, and what you said to me that day meant a lot. And later, I went to go meet her at the Mexican restaurant afterward and take her some documents, some different letters I'd written and things, and actually pick up a copy of a German creed, an equestrian creed that she had. And she was sitting, she came outside to see me because she didn't really want me to know that she was with certain people inside and didn't know that I was really friends with them too. And I've heard different versions of that story. But either way, I want to thank the certain people. And there's one other particular person I haven't thanked that I told you earlier throughout all this and what I've been through with my family. Clay Harlan's been like my father, but Donna Benefield has been like my adopted mother. And I want to thank her because when I had nowhere to go, she let me come stay with her. And she has been absolutely awesome. And I love you, Donna. You all, everyone that I thank you all for who have helped me, and thank you all for coming today.